Welcome to the audio-only midweek check-in episode for That's Based, reporting from somewhere underground. I am your host, as always, Caleb Salvatore. We're laughing our way through the end of days, and we're, of course, brought to you by Outlaw Streamers, where you can head on over to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more. Remember, the audio-only midweek check-in airs every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's what you're listening to. We'll get a still image up on Rumble, so you can, if you follow along there. Otherwise, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, iHeart, Google, basically everywhere you get your shows. I don't know if we're on Google. That's a lie. I don't know. They tell me we are, but I don't have an Android because I'm not poor. So if you listen to us on Google, you know, I always like Trump said, I love the poorly educated. Quick housekeeping note. I know the audio has been fucked. It was brought to my attention, so I'll give you a rundown. I listen to the episodes after they're recorded, typically the next day, because I'm a narcissist who likes to hear himself talk. No, not really. I listen to the episodes after they're recorded because I like to see what I did right, what I did wrong, where it's like a football player watching game film. Regardless, I'll listen to them after they're recorded, but I listen to the raw files. So I don't actually listen to it on Spotify, on Apple like you guys do. So I noticed some comments a couple weeks ago in the live chat that said your audio is cutting on Rumble. And I assumed it was someone's Wi-Fi fucking up. I didn't think anything of it. There was like 2 or 3 people in the live chat saying your audio's cutting. And I'm like, okay, maybe the upload's just screwed up. Someone comes up to me, fast forward, someone I know comes up to me a couple days, about a week and a half ago, says, hey, your audio's cutting on Rumble. And I go, okay, is it Rumble or is it just Rumble or is it Spotify? So I went home and listened to it, and the Spotify was fucked too. I don't know what's happening. They're working to get it fixed. I apologize. Hopefully by the time this one airs, it'll be ready to go. I'm sorry for that. We don't apologize in this show a lot, but that's an error on our end. I'm not sure. It's something going on with the upload because, like I said, I listen to the raw files and everything is fine. So something's being lost in translation when it gets uploaded. I don't know what the problem is, why this is happening, but hopefully, like I said, they will have this resolved by the time this one airs, and it won't be a problem anymore. Nonetheless, I appreciate you guys sticking with me because it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie. I would not. The fact that we had as many people still following along on Rumble as we did is cool because if a show was doing that, there's no way in hell I'd listen to it. I'd tune out. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for doing that. That was it. That was the episode. No, I wanted to cover that. Big shout out though to our sponsors over at Blood of Tyrants. Head on over to www.drinkbloodofTyrants.com for their brand new product, Liquid Freedom Energy Drink. It's got 0 carbs, 0 calories, and 0 sugar. Made with all natural ingredients, gives you all the kick of coffee and energy drinks without any of the negative side effects. Plus, you can support like-minded people like us. Look at the name, Blood of Tyrants. They hate the government just like we do. drinkbloodofTyrants.com, promo code BASED, B-A-S-E-D, like the title of the show at checkout for 10% off your order. They've also got a Merlot wine where that promo code will apply. I love it. I drank the shit out of it. I'm not too much of a wine snob, but it was great. You know, it cures COVID. No. I do have a cold right now, though. I was worried it was COVID, but it didn't stop me from doing anything I was going to do anyway. It's not, though. It's got a cold, got a little bit of a cold, so I apologize if I'm nasally today. It's clearing itself up pretty quick, though, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. All right, let's get into the topics. This week it's just me this week. We're going to have, that's the other thing. We've got some changes coming in 2024. You'll notice them. Some of them will be subtle, some of them won't be. The first one is Mia's fired. No, not really. She's going to be here. No, the first change, we're going to have more guests on the midweek check-ins. That's the goal. I want to stimulate more conversation, more discussion. It's not going to be every week, but we are going to have more guests on the midweek check-ins going into 2024. We're going to have some disagreements, some healthy discussions, screaming, death threats, maybe some assaults captured on camera. That's the first change coming. The second change coming is we are going to, on Mondays, we're going to bring back the unsolicited advice segment. So remember those old, when we first started the show, where Mia would pull stories off the internet, and I'd read them and react to them blindly. We're going to bring those back. We're going to start doing those again on Mondays. So Mondays, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, you're going to start seeing the, you're going to start seeing the unsolicited advice segment come back. And we might, if the shows keep going close to 2 hours on Saturdays, we might move Smart Stupid People there too. We might move that to Mondays as well. We'll see, because I know we've skipped it the last 2 weeks. We didn't even get dementia awareness last week. The problem is I can only foresee the shows getting longer as we get closer to the election, and 2024 is just promising to bring us all kinds of crazy shit. I know some people think we're going to see a full-blown civil war. I don't think it'll be that extent. But 2024 is promising to bring us just pure insanity. So as we get closer to that, we're going to offload some of the topics onto the Monday and Wednesday shows. So hopefully that will alleviate some of the length of the shows. I appreciate you guys that stick to. I mean, we have solid numbers that will listen the entire hour and a half to 2 hours. That's impressive. People don't listen to professionals that long, but they listen to me. That's cool. All right, enough housekeeping. Let's get into the topics. We got Alex Jones is back on Twitter. Destiny gets a divorce from his wife. Derek, we have an update on the Derek Chauvin stabbing. We've got a guy gets 8 years in prison for some what some critics are calling mean words. And then we've got a viral post about the Salvation Army going around on Facebook that I keep seeing all the worst people I know share. We got a lot to get into. So Alex Jones, Elon Musk put him back on Twitter after his interview with Tucker Carlson. We all knew that was coming, kind of like Dylan Raiola coming to Nebraska, but it's not a sports show. It's all good. Alex Jones is allowed back on Twitter. Remember, Elon initially didn't want to let him back on because of the Sandy Hook thing, because Elon lost a son, or was it a daughter? It doesn't matter. Lost a child, and said, I don't want to platform someone who would lie about dead kids. Now, Alex Jones, to his credit, has admitted, hey, I screwed that one up. And he's continuing to be made an example out of in the media. It sucks. Again, Alex Jones, I've made my opinions clear on the guy. He's gotten a lot right. Just unfortunately for him, the one thing he couldn't afford to get wrong, he got wrong. And I listened to his Tucker Carlson interview. I don't know if you guys listened to it. Let me know in the comments on Rumble what you thought. I listened to his Tucker Carlson interview. And the thing I gathered, and I've covered this before, the guy's drinking a lot and on the air a lot, covering negative topics. The thing that stuck out the most to me about that interview was where he mentioned that he's constantly reading government document releases. Now, he's been doing this for over 20 years. Imagine every time any type of intelligence agency, the CDC, you name it, releases a new document, you're going to sit there and read it. You're going to sit there and read that document, and you're not just going to read it, which, I mean, honestly, I've read government documents for this show. Makes me want to blow my brains out. Now, imagine you're not just going to sit there and read it, though. You're going to sit there and read it and look for things to be cynical about. Look for things that you could maybe build a conspiracy around. And I don't think he's doing it for a grift. I think that's how his mind works. I don't think it's a grift with Alex. I really don't think Alex Jones is doing a grift. You can make the argument that maybe the supplements or the water, I don't know. But I think he believes what he is saying, and he's found a way to make money off of it. There's a difference, because that's the common accusation, is that anyone who's talking politics and making money off of it is a grifter. It's not true. There's people out there that say what they mean and believe it. Not everyone that you don't like that's talking politics in a way you don't like is a grifter. It's just not that. It's not the case. We need to get over that. Is it a real job? Absolutely not. And that's coming from somebody who does it. This is not a real job. It's not. It's a way to make money, but it's not a real job, and that's fine. That doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you're a grifter, though. I think we need to set that straight. So Alex Jones is back on Twitter, and of course this has caused meltdowns from our good friends over on the left. They're having an absolute fit, saying that they're going to cancel it, because this is the threat. That they're going to leave Twitter. They're always saying they're going to go to Threads or what. I wonder if they'll actually follow through this time. They're going to close their Twitter accounts down. They're going to head on over to Threads. They're saying Adam Kinzinger, the former representative, the one that cried about January 6th, he's a Republican, cried about how Donald Trump, quote unquote, betrayed our country on January 6th in front of Congress. He's a little bitch. Just oozes beta male energy. Adam Kinzinger posted on Twitter that advertisers should start pulling their money out now that Alex Jones is back on Twitter. Well, I mean, I guess that means he's going to close his account too, because every time that guy tweets, it's a huge advertisement for testosterone supplements, because every man that sees that guy, Adam Kinzinger, or any of the Krasenstein brothers, or any of those far-left political influencers, anyone that sees those guys tweeting, any man, I should say, his immediate reaction is, oh my God, I need to get to the gym and get my T levels tested because I can't be like that. Any real man. That's just a fact. It is. It makes me cringe when I see guys like that, truly. I mean, if seriously, I've said this 100 times. If your choices are that guy or Andrew Tate, be Andrew Tate. I mean, at least there's some respectable qualities about somebody like Andrew Tate or Alex Jones. There's nothing about those guys. Nothing at all. So the leftists are mad. They're upset about Alex Jones. The funniest part of this to me, the best part of the Alex Jones thing to me, is, and this is an objective fact, nothing Alex Jones has ever said even comes close to approaching the level of absurdity of the claim that men can get pregnant. Nothing everything Alex Jones says is objectively more believable and more realistic. Doesn't mean it's true, it's just more believable than the concept of a man getting pregnant, than the concept that children can change their own genders and you can be whatever gender you want any day of the week, than the concept of the Palestinians and Hamas aren't committing any violent crimes against the Israeli people. Then I mean, it's on and on and on. The left's entire political philosophy is 2 + 2 = 5 at this point. Don't believe your lying eyes. Honestly, I'd wager to say 75% of the things Alex Jones has said are more believable than Joe Biden's economy being any good. That's the lie they're pushing right now that more people seem to be accepting. Well, not, I mean, more I guess, perspective, more people than the gender shit. But that's the lie, the big lie they're trying to push right now. It's largely being rejected, I should clarify, just not as heavily as some of the other garbage is by the average person. Still, not as believable as 75% of the things Alex Jones says. Just don't believe your lying eyes is what they're telling you. I mean, seriously, the chemicals in the water turning the frogs gay, which, by the way, is true. I know that people made a meme out of that because it's true. There was a company dumping toxic chemicals in the water, and the frogs that were living in the water were experiencing homosexual tendencies. And you can say what you want, and the problem is that those chemicals are getting into our water. And you can say what you want. Obviously, I don't have a problem with gay people. I think if people two adults want to get married, they should have the same rights as us. But when we talk about how the regime and the elites, one of the top goals they have is population control, well, what can't gay people do? Reproduce. I mean, I have gay friends. I don't care if they want to adopt a kid, but it's a fact. They can't reproduce. So when you have chemicals that are proven to do that to animals, you got to kind of wonder, well, are they putting that in our stuff to encourage it in younger generations here? Because you do see a higher spike of younger people, Gen Z and younger millennials, and this Gen Alpha or whatever, identifying with the LGBTQ, BLT, 4K HD TV plus exclamation point community, $. You know, so it does make you wonder a little bit how much of this is true. How much of this is a population control thing? A lot of what they do is rooted in population control. You have people like Bill Gates going on TV saying we need to decrease the world's population by X%. I mean, these are psychopaths. These are crazy people. All of them crazier than Alex Jones. Does Alex Jones have some wild out there theories? Absolutely he does. Do I endorse in any way everything Alex Jones has ever said or done? Of course I don't. Some of the stuff that comes out of that guy's mouth is batshit crazy, but a lot of it comes from a kernel of truth. Even with that said, none of that is as insane as the stuff I see Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, people who are widely respected in this country, get up and spew in front of large audiences. Nothing None of that is insane as these people coming in wanting to spy on your house and transition the entire world into some metaverse from these people that come up here and want to decrease the world's population and conduct genetic experiments on mosquitoes and God knows what else. None of that is as all of that is more insane, than anything Alex Jones has ever said. It just is. All right, next up, Destiny, the Twitch streamer, is getting a divorce. Now, I know you're like, why is this news? Well, here's the thing. It shouldn't be. But Destiny is more than a Twitch streamer. He's actually from the same city I am. He's from Omaha. Destiny, however, is a far-left activist and a political commentator on top of streaming video games. And he's also a cuck. Yeah, he's in a polygamous marriage. He's a scrawny little dude with blue hair. Now, of course, that's going to mean he's the one getting cucked. And I've always said this for the longest time, that polygamous marriages are a sham. Any type of polygamous relationship, it's a sham. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. There are two types of polygamous marriages, right? And neither of them are healthy. The first type is the religious type, which is the traditional form of polygamy. So you have Muslims and Mormons are typically the ones you see doing it. Both of those, the man is these women basically have Stockholm syndrome in this. I mean, the man is dominant and controlling and doesn't let them doesn't let them have basically any rights, which, I mean, I'm fine with that if it's just a monogamous partnership. No, I'm kidding. The second kind is the more modern form of polygamy, which is what's becoming popular and trendy on TikTok, where it's just a bunch of disgusting people fucking each other. And that's kind of what Destiny fell more into. Obviously, this guy wasn't a Mormon or a Muslim. They would have stoned him to death for, my God, could you imagine? So he's getting divorced. And the thing with this Destiny guy is he's gone on that Whatever podcast, which the dating show, which we've been largely critical of on this show. And he's gone on to talk about how healthy his marriage is. Now, I disagree. I think marriage is between two individuals. The second you start bringing other people into it is when it's no longer a commitment. You've completely desecrated your sacred bond. Your vows are destroyed. I don't think if you intended to bring other people into it from the get-go, they were never sacred to begin with, and it was a house of cards to begin with. So Destiny's gone on there to defend this as how healthy it is, that his wife gets to sleep with other men, and I guess he gets to sleep with other women too. But let's be real. 99% of these modern-day polygamous marriages are just men who get cheated on by their wives. That's what it is. Let's call it what it is, you know? So Destiny's gone on to defend it as this big, healthy relationship, and he was called out. He got called out by several guests on this show, and they're like, dude, what are you going to do if somewhere down the road she finds a guy she likes better than you and falls in love with him? And he goes, well, that hasn't happened up to this point. And they're like, yeah, no, it hasn't. But nothing happens until it does. You know? So sure enough, what happened? Well, Destiny's wife, by the way, that's a female name. Why does he call himself that? Destiny's wife, lo and behold, falls in love with the guy that she was hooking up with on the side. Now, she was a foreigner. She wasn't from the United States. So we're going to see how big of a cuck this guy is. Does he let her maintain her green card status? You know, does he stay married to her? But she did file for divorce, or I don't know who did. And I'm not here to dunk on someone else's marriage. I hate to see anyone go through a divorce. It's miserable for anybody. But when you've thrown it in our faces for so long about how perfect and healthy your polygamous marriage is, your open marriage, whatever, same shit. It's all bullshit. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's a mental illness by sad, sick people. That's what it is. So you throw how healthy your polygamous marriage is in all of our faces and imply that, that it's better than ours. Well, here's your karma. Now you got to take your medicine. Now you get to take your medicine. And the guy that she's leaving him for looks like an even bigger cuck than him. So this woman has a type. And that, again, that's a trend with these types of women in these so-called open marriages, is they look for guys that are weak, frail, and pathetic like that because they're easier to manipulate and push around. And that's exactly what these two guys are. They look for these, like, I hate to throw the words alpha and beta out, but these beta male bitch boys, I don't like the word. It's cringy when people talk about alphas and betas. Low testosterone bitch boys that she can just wrap her fingers around and just ruin these guys and get them to bend to her every will. And that's really common with these women, with these types of women that are more prone to these polygamous marriages. It just is. All right, next up, what do we got? Oh, Derek Chauvin. We got some updates on the stabbing. He was stabbed over 20 times. 20 times on Black Friday. And the guy that stabbed him, now Chauvin lived, the cop that killed George Floyd. Chauvin lived, and the guy who stabbed him said that he did it on Black Friday for Black Lives Matter. It says ex-Mexican mafia member John Turskak was identified. That's a Mexican mob name. John Turskak was identified by Tucson, Arizona federal corrections officers as the person, this is Yahoo News, by the way, as the person who attacked Chauvin the day after Thanksgiving, leaving him with 22 stab wounds. 22 stab wounds, and you didn't kill the guy. It's like, that's as bad. How bad are you at stabbing people? I've never stabbed anyone, and I'm pretty sure I get you in 22 attempts. I mean, if you give me 22, if you're telling me I'm going into a fight with a guy, and I may not land every blow I throw, but I'm going to walk away having stabbed him 22 times, I guarantee I get the job done, you know? It's like the guy who shot 50 Cent like 15 times and didn't kill him. Prosecutors said if the guards didn't break up the altercation, he would have died. I mean, he probably should have anyway, being stabbed 22 times. According to the criminal complaint, Tursak told FBI investigators that he'd been thinking about the assault for a month prior to the incident. He said he did it on Black Friday as it was symbolic for the Black Lives Matter movement and the black hand symbol associated with the Mexican mafia criminal organization. Now, in a way, this guy's right. I mean, we know Black Friday, but the black stands for companies getting back into the black because of the retail sales. It has nothing to do with race or anything like that. But we all know Black Friday has nothing to do with any race. It's nothing to do with any holiday, religion, anything like that. It's literally, it's close to Christmas. It's right after. It's a day that a lot of people already have off work or they take off work because of Thanksgiving, and they're like, hey, this is the day. Let's do all the sales. Let's have people go out and do their Christmas shopping, spend a little bit of money at our store, get some foot traffic going here, right? Nothing to do with anybody's race. But if you think about it, it really is symbolic of what the Black Lives Matter movement has become, which is just corporate garbage. Black Friday, Black Lives Matter, basically interchangeable at this point. Listen, Black Lives Matter, when it started out over 10 years ago, it was a movement. It was a legitimate grassroots movement. The problem was it was infiltrated by bad actors, much like the feminist movement, much like the LGBT movement, right? I mean, listen, of course we think Black Lives Matter. I mean, everyone's life matters, right? It's double speak. It doesn't make any sense. We don't need to double down on it. Of course, all lives matter, right? Of course, well, I mean, we may not all think this. I know my wife doesn't, but of course we think women should have most of the same rights as men. I'm kidding. Women should have the same rights as men. And, we don't have a problem with gay people get married, but most of us don't. The problem is all of those groups have been infiltrated by extremists, and a lot of those extremists have a lot of dark money coming behind them. From people like George Soros, World Economic Forum, the list goes on and on and on. Citizens United, all of them, right? So they have this money coming in behind them, and they get taken over by just radical extremists that work their way to the top because they have the funding, they have the connections, they have the resources, and they're usually pretty good talkers. So these people will hijack these organizations, and the George Soroses of the world now control them. And that's what's happened. You had movements that had initially at least good concepts that were hijacked by radical extremists and run into the ground and pushed way further to the left. The right wing has their own version of that, but the feds typically infiltrate them and push them further to the right. That's the only difference there. So it's very symbolic. There's a difference between Black Lives Matter, the movement, and Black Lives Matter, Inc. I'm not saying I agree with all of the things that Black Lives Matter, the movement, has pushed forward. I think there could be a little bit of police reform in terms of how they de-escalate crises. I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that violence should always be and sometimes it's the only thing you can do. I'm sympathetic to that as well. The problem is you have these morons that have taken that organization over, and they're pushing for things like the abolition of the nuclear family, which has nothing to do with policing. And if you really want to talk about statistics, I mean, that's a problem in black communities, is not having a father figure, not having of one parent being absent. And your children are much more likely to be incarcerated if they don't have a father in the house, or both parents, either one, I guess. Abolishing the police, idiotic. I know, call me, I'm crazy. I'm a far-right reactionary. I think we should have somebody should be there to arrest murderers and pedophiles and robbers. I know, crazy. Absolutely batshit crazy. I don't think we should just have mob rule where we beat the hell out of these people. And I don't think social workers are the solution for every problem. So that's where they kind of start to lose me, with the communism and the Marxism and the abolition of the family and getting rid of the police, which is hilarious because a lot of these left-wing activists, they're the ones that need the police. It ain't me. What do you think? Here's my thing, man. Somebody breaks into my house, I'm calling the police to come pick up the body. I'll tell my wife to go to lock herself in the bathroom and call the police. I'm not calling the police till after it's all said and done. I'll handle my own. These people on the far left that don't believe in guns and the vegan soy boys that weigh 115 pounds soaking wet, low-T dumbasses, they're the ones. They're the ones that actually need the police. And that's the other thing, is when you saw these Antifa riots, again, you had bad actors coming in from around the country, taking over peaceful protests and burning shit to the ground. That was all the summer of 2020. I think there were people that were legitimately concerned with the state of policing, and that's their right to go out and protest. And then you had saboteurs. A lot of them I believe, were paid. That came in and caused all this chaos. Here's the thing. The police you guys hate so much are the only reason it wasn't open season on Antifa in the summer of 2020. Because I'm telling you right now, that was the sole reason. The sole reason. A lot of people didn't just grab their rifles and take to the streets and just start picking you off, was they would go to jail. And there would be legal consequences for it. So the police you guys hated so much actually, in a way, allowed you to act the way you did. Again, the Marxists, the communists, the Antifa groups, they don't actually hate police. They only hate them when they're not enforcing their laws. So if they were coming to arrest you for making a joke about, for misgendering somebody, for owning a gun, for not getting your 12th booster shot, they'd be all for that. The problem is they're against it when they're arresting pedophiles and arsonists and, thieves, people the left love, right? The left's sacred cows. Next up, what do we got here? We've got, oh, yes. So let me find this article here. I want to pull it up before I get it. A man was arrested and sentenced to 8 years in New Jersey after being filmed in a viral video. He was sentenced to 8 years in prison for shouting racial slurs at his neighbors. And I saw a lot of folks on my realm, which is, conservative land, right? Is that what we want to call it? The right of center. A lot of folks from my territory were talking about how this is ridiculous. We're punishing the guy for mean speech. And I saw this and I'm like, yeah, that's harassment. But 8 years seems a bit excessive. Then I clicked on the article. And this is why you guys have to stop getting your news from tweets in less than 140 characters. I guess you can do more than that now, but still, you have to stop getting your news from tweets. You have to stop getting your news from headlines. And you got to actually start reading the articles or listening to this show where I read the articles for you. This was deeper than just a guy shouting insults at people. This allegedly, right? I guess he got convicted, so it's not really alleged anymore. This was a guy who was not just yelling ethnic slurs at these people and their children, which is a scumbag behavior, on their property, by the way. I'm a private property guy. The guys on your property shouting at you like that, blast them. Take the trash out. I don't care. But nonetheless, this was deeper than that. He was supposedly spitting on their children. He was leaving dog shit on their door. He was shooting at windows with a pellet. This was a crazy guy, or BB gun or something. This was a maniac and a guy, and this is beyond just harassment. He also had drugs with intent to distribute also played a role in the sentence. So let's not act like that. Listen, there are plenty of instances where we can point out how out of control the woke movement is in this country. This ain't one of them. This guy was a menace to society, and all of us, regardless of our race, regardless of our religion, regardless of anything like that, are much better off with him behind bars. And we all would have been much better off if the dad just would have put a bullet in his ass, if you want me to be completely honest. Because menaces and scumbags like that, regardless of their race or their political affiliation, their religion, anything, what country they're from, gender, anything like that, we're all just better off without them. I mean, I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. We are a more peaceful and polite society without people like that. All right, last one. I'm seeing this post get shared around on Facebook. Salvation Army. It's a the bell ringers. They'll sit outside of like Hobby Lobby, Target during Christmas season, and they'll ring bells and ask for donations. Well, they had there's a post going around that says, "We don't donate to the bigot bucket." That's what it says. Thousands of shares. What's hilarious about this, the funniest thing about this, is the person that originated this post. This is funny. The person that originated this post, I know this person. Nice lady. I know her and her husband because they, at one point, were regulars at my comedy shows. I think it's funny that they... Again, I have nothing against these people. I've never had a negative experience with them. But they've been to my comedy shows several times, repeat customers. And I think it's great that they know it, like, it's, offensive humor and stuff. Jokes are jokes. It's not serious. But still, at the same time, it's kind of like typically the people that have that outlook on life aren't big fans of people like me, of humor like mine. And there's always exceptions to the rules. I mean, we have all kinds of people come to our shows. I had a gay couple come up and they're like, "This is the fourth one of your shows we've been to. We just love it. Like, we love the just raw humor. We love that you don't take, you guys don't hold back." And they're like, it's too many comedians out there feel like they can't make fun of gay people because it's some sacred cow, and we find that dehumanizing, and we like how you got people on your show aren't afraid to go there. By the way, my next show is Saturday, or excuse me, my next monthly show, not my next show. My next monthly show is Saturday, February 17th, Beach House, Bar and Grill, Omaha. It's the next monthly show. Noe Ramirez, hilarious guy, is my headliner. Come check him out. It'll be two shows, too. 7 o'clock dinner show and then a 9 o'clock late night show. We're going to get spicy, right? But yeah, so so I know the people that have been sharing, that originated it. Now, the people that have been sharing it, I know there was one girl I know that shared it, and she's big on the Free Palestine movement. If you guys don't know the history, the Salvation Army allegedly has a history of maybe being a little discriminatory toward the LGBTQ BLT 4K HD TV plus $! Hashtag exclamation point, folks. I don't really know the extent of it. I've heard allegations. I've heard they won't help so-called trans kids that have run away from their families. And what it sounds like to me is there's probably a little bit more nuance that we need. There's a little bit more context. My guess is they wouldn't turn them away, but they're not going to pay for their hormones. And if you ask a lot of these people, that's a form of genocide. So I take that with a grain of salt. But that's the allegations. The people I know sharing this around, and the original posters, I don't know about their political views or anything, but the people I know sharing this around are big into the Free Palestine movement. And I'm just like, guys, if you think the Salvation Army mistreats the gays, wait till you find out what they do in Gaza. Because I'm telling you right now, you're going to be wishing they just turned you around and sent you on your merry way to a different shelter, or just refused to pay for your hormones for a 13-year-old. You're going to be wishing that was the case. So the best thing to come out of this whole Israel and Palestine thing is The Palestinians don't have any more buildings to throw the gays off of. All right, that's enough. We'll end it on that one. Anyway, that has been our show. Thank you guys so much for following around. Remember, I hope we have the audio fixed by the time this airs. If not, I will go to Tim's house and throw him off a building. No, I'm kidding. That's fucked up. No, I won't do that. But no, I will. Tim's working on it right now. I trust him. He's done a great job getting the show out. He is the unsung hero of this show. Him and Mia do the hard shit. I just show up and kind of yell. So like, props to them. You guys should really be sending your money to Tim and Mia for doing this because they do way more work than I do on this show. I just kind of show up and look pretty. I have no notes, no preparation. No, I'm kidding. Follow the socials. Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram. Caleb Salvatore Comedy on TikTok. Caleb Salvatore YouTube and Rumble. I got a TV interview coming out soon in January. I will link you guys to that when it drops. It's a 30-minute in-depth interview with me on TV. How could you want anything more, right? How could you want anything more? And we talk about how I got started in comedy. We talk about how I got partnered up making shows. We talk about That's Based. We talk about how an elite group a small elite group of satanic pedophiles are poisoning the water and food and sleepwalking us into World War III on behalf of the military-industrial complex. We cover all of it in a half-hour TV interview. And I know the guys that run the show, very good friends of mine, the guys and gal that run the show, very good friends of mine, and it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to sharing it. There'll be some great clips from that. I go a little, take the gloves off on a few occasions, but we all know I've never been afraid to do that before. So anyway, that's been our show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you Saturday for the big show, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse. And remember, stay based.